Hi everyone, welcome back to English Fab, where learning English is practical, useful and fab. Have you ever found yourself thinking, I was allowed to do it, or I managed to finish it, but weren't quite sure how to say it naturally in English? Or maybe you hesitate when using phrases like be motivated to or struggle to. These are all examples of phrasal modals, and they're incredibly useful for expressing ability, permission, emotions and effort. But for many learners, knowing when and how to use them can be confusing. In today's lesson, we're going to explore essential phrasal modals like be allowed to, be motivated to, be unwilling to, manage to, fail to, and more. I'll explain what each phrase means, how to use them correctly, and give you practical examples to help you feel confident using them in everyday conversations. If you find English difficult, don't worry. You can translate the subtitles into English and your own language like this. Check the description below for extra details. Are you ready? Let's get started.
In this section, we'll explore common ways to use be allowed to with clear explanations and examples. Let's get started. 1. Talking about general rules or laws. We use be allowed to talk about rules, laws, or official permissions. Example: people are allowed to park here after 6 p.m. This means parking is officially permitted after 6 p.m. More examples: you are not allowed to smoke inside the building. Visitors are allowed to take photos in the museum. 2. Describing school or workplace rules. Use be allowed to when talking about what students or employees can or cannot do according to rules. Example: employees are allowed to work from home on Fridays. This means the company gives permission for remote work on Fridays. More examples: students are not allowed to use phones during class. We are allowed to leave early on Fridays. 3. Giving or asking personal permission. Be allowed to is also common in personal situations where someone gives or asks for permission. Example: I am allowed to stay out late tonight. This means someone has given me permission to stay out late. More examples: are we allowed to eat in this room? She is not allowed to drive until she turns 18. 4. Expressing parental or family rules. We often use be allowed to when talking about what parents or family members permit. Example: kids are not allowed to play video games before homework. This means the parents have set this rule at home. More examples: I was allowed to have a pet when I was a kid. He is not allowed to watch TV on weekdays. 5. Referring to temporary or special permissions. Use be allowed to when there is special permission given for a short time or specific event. Example: we are allowed to bring guests to the party this weekend. This means permission has been given just for the weekend party. More examples: you are allowed to skip the meeting today. They were allowed to stay overnight at the event. Now that we've covered the different ways to use be allowed to, let's go over some important tips to help you use it naturally and correctly in conversations. 1. Structure: be plus allowed to plus base verb. The verb right after be allowed to should always be in its base form, no ing, no past tense, just the simple verb. For example: correct, she is allowed to leave early today. Incorrect, she is allowed to leaving early today. It's a common mistake, but once you remember the base verb rule, it becomes easier to use. 2. Be allowed to versus can. This is a great one to remember, especially when choosing the right tone. Be allowed to is usually more formal. You'll often hear it when talking about rules, laws, or official permission. For example, visitors are allowed to take photos inside the museum. On the other hand, can is much more casual and used for general ability or informal permission. For example, you can take photos if you want. So, choose be allowed to when you want to sound a bit more formal or when explaining rules. 3. Common mistakes and how to fix them. Let's fix one of the most common errors. Incorrect. he allowed to enter the building. Correct, he is allowed to enter the building. Remember, you always need the correct form of be like is, are, was, or were depending on the subject and tense. 4. How to remember be allowed to. Here's a simple way to remember. Think of allowed as being given permission by someone or by a rule. Use it when you're talking about official permissions, family rules, school or workplace policies, or even temporary allowances like being able to stay out late just for tonight. And always double-check your form of be to match the subject and the tense. For example, she is allowed to. They were allowed to. I am allowed to. 5. Common expressions with be allowed to. Here are some useful phrases you'll hear often. Be allowed to drive. You are allowed to drive after getting a license. Be allowed to bring guests. We are allowed to bring guests to the event. Be allowed to stay out. She is allowed to stay out until midnight. Be allowed to eat here. You are not allowed to eat here. Be allowed to use the phone. Students are allowed to use their phones during breaks.
In this section, we'll explore common ways to use be motivated to with clear explanations and examples. Let's get started. 1. Expressing personal goals and ambitions. When someone has a strong reason to achieve something, they are motivated to take action. Example: she is motivated to learn a new language before traveling abroad. She has a clear goal and is working towards it with determination. More examples: he is motivated to start his own business next year. They are motivated to improve their public speaking skills. 2. Talking about work or career growth. People often feel motivated to improve their job performance when they see opportunities for career advancement. Example: he is motivated to complete his training for a promotion. The possibility of career growth encourages him to put in extra effort. More examples: she is motivated to work harder after receiving positive feedback. They are motivated to take leadership courses to advance their careers. 3. Describing self-improvement and healthy habits. Motivation plus harm plays a big role in personal development, especially when building better routines. Example: they are motivated to eat healthier and exercise daily. Their goal is to develop long-term healthy habits. More examples: she is motivated to wake up early and be more productive. He is motivated to quit smoking and lead a healthier lifestyle. 4. Encouragement from external factors. Motivation can come from external sources like rewards, encouragement, or recognition. Example: she is motivated to study hard because of her teacher's encouragement. Positive feedback from a mentor or teacher can inspire hard work. More examples: he is motivated to win the competition because of his coach's support. They are motivated to work harder after receiving an award. 5. Overcoming challenges with determination. Motivation helps people push through difficulties and stay committed to their goals. Example: he is motivated to finish his project despite the obstacles. Even when facing challenges, his motivation keeps him going. More examples: she is motivated to succeed despite past failures. They are motivated to keep practicing until they master a new skill. Now that we've covered the different ways to use be motivated to, let's go over some important tips to help you use it naturally and correctly in conversations. 1. Structure be plus motivated. 2 plus base verb. The verb after be motivated to should always be in its base form. Correct: she is motivated to start her own business. Incorrect: she is motivated to starting her own business. 2. Be motivated to versus be inspired to. These two phrases may seem similar, but have different meanings. Be motivated to focuses on personal drive or encouragement from external factors. Example: he is motivated to work hard because he wants success. Be inspired to focuses on an emotional influence, often from something positive. Example: she was inspired to write a book after meeting a famous author. 3. Common mistakes and how to fix them. Incorrect: I'm motivated to wake up early. Correct: I am motivated to wake up early. 4. How to remember be motivated to. Think of motivated as being driven by a goal or reason. If there is a clear objective or encouragement behind an action, be motivated to is the right phrase to use. This phrase is commonly used in self-improvement, education, and work-related discussions. 5. Commonly used expressions with be motivated to. Be motivated to succeed. She is motivated to succeed in her new job. Be motivated to change. He is motivated to change his lifestyle. Be motivated to work hard. They are motivated to work hard for their dreams. Be motivated to keep going. She is motivated to keep going despite difficulties. Be motivated to achieve goals. He is motivated to achieve his fitness goals.
In this section, we'll explore common ways to use be unwilling to with clear explanations and examples. Let's get started. 1. Refusing to take action. Use be unwilling to when someone does not want to do something or refuses to take responsibility. Example: she is unwilling to answer personal questions. This means she refuses to answer because she doesn't feel comfortable. More examples: he is unwilling to admit his mistake. They are unwilling to participate in the discussion. 2. Expressing reluctance or hesitation. This shows that someone feels unsure or uncomfortable doing something. Example: they are unwilling to change their opinion. They hesitate because they're not ready to see things differently. More examples: she is unwilling to try new food. He is unwilling to listen to advice. 3. Talking about emotional barriers. Use this when someone's feelings stop them from acting. It's common in emotional or personal conversations. Example: he is unwilling to open up about his feelings. He finds it hard to share his emotions. More examples: she is unwilling to talk about her past. They are unwilling to express their anger. 4. Describing refusal in formal or professional situations. This often appears in business, professional, or legal contexts when someone formally refuses to agree or act. Example: the company is unwilling to negotiate further. This means the company has decided not to continue discussions. More examples: the client is unwilling to accept the new contract. Management is unwilling to change the policy. 5. Referring to cultural or social reasons for refusal. Sometimes, people refuse to do something because of their culture, social norms, or personal beliefs. Example: some people are unwilling to eat meat for cultural reasons. Their beliefs influence their decision. More examples: he is unwilling to break tradition. They are unwilling to celebrate that event. Now that we've covered the different ways to use be unwilling to, let's go over some important tips to help you use it naturally and correctly in conversations. 1. Structure: be plus unwilling to plus base verb. The correct structure is be plus unwilling to plus base verb. The verb that follows unwilling to should always be in its base form. Correct: she is unwilling to help with the project. Incorrect: she is unwilling to helping with the project. Double-check the verb form and avoid adding ing or changing the tense after to. 2. Be unwilling to versus refuse to. Let's look at the difference between these two phrases. Be unwilling to is a softer and more polite way to express refusal or hesitation. Example: they are unwilling to accept the offer. Refuse to is stronger and more direct. It clearly shows a firm no. Example: they refuse to accept the offer. Use be unwilling to in formal or polite conversations, and refuse to when you want to sound firm. 3. Common mistakes and how to fix them. Here's a common mistake learners make. Incorrect: I unwilling to join the team. Correct: I am unwilling to join the team. Remember, you need the correct form of the verb be, am, is, are, was, or were based on the subject and tense. 4. How to remember be unwilling to. Here's a simple way to remember. Think of unwilling as meaning not ready or not wanting to do something. It's often used in polite conversations, formal writing, or when showing hesitation or emotional reasons. And don't forget, it's always followed by the base form of the verb. 5. Commonly used expressions with be unwilling to. Here are some common examples you can practice with. Be unwilling to change: he is unwilling to change his habits. Be unwilling to share: she is unwilling to share her opinion. Be unwilling to compromise: they are unwilling to compromise on the price. Be unwilling to participate. Some members are unwilling to participate. Be unwilling to forgive. He is unwilling to forgive her mistake.
In this section, we'll go over 5 common ways to use be reluctant to, with clear explanations and examples. Let's get started. 1. Expressing unwillingness to do something. Use be reluctant to when someone simply does not want to take an action. Example: he is reluctant to wake up early on weekends. This means he does not want to wake up early because he prefers to sleep in. More examples: she is reluctant to go to the party because she doesn't know anyone there. They are reluctant to start a new project because they are already busy. If someone is unwilling to do something, be reluctant to is a great way to express it. 2. Hesitating due to doubt or fear. Use be reluctant to when someone is afraid of possible negative consequences. Example: she was reluctant to invest money in stocks because of market risks. This means she was unsure about investing because she was afraid of losing money. More examples: he is reluctant to try skydiving because it looks dangerous. They are reluctant to quit their jobs without another job lined up. If someone hesitates because they are afraid of a bad outcome, they are reluctant to act. 3. Avoiding a difficult or unpleasant task. Use be reluctant to when someone does not want to do something because it is hard, uncomfortable, or unpleasant. Example: they are reluctant to discuss personal matters with their boss. This means they feel uncomfortable sharing personal details in a professional setting. More examples: she was reluctant to apologize, even though she knew she was wrong. He is reluctant to talk about his past experiences. If someone avoids an action because it feels difficult or uncomfortable, be reluctant to is the perfect phrase. 4. Refusing to change or try something new. Use be reluctant to when someone resists change or refuses to try something different. Example: he is reluctant to switch to a new phone because he likes his old one. This means he prefers his current phone and does not want to upgrade. More examples: she is reluctant to move to a new city because she has lived in the same place for years. They were reluctant to try a new restaurant because they always go to the same one. If someone is resistant to change, they are reluctant to accept something new. 5. Showing resistance to following advice or instructions. Use be reluctant to when someone does not want to follow what others suggest. Example: she was reluctant to follow the doctor's advice about exercising daily. This means she did not want to start exercising even though the doctor recommended it. More examples: he is reluctant to take medicine because he doesn't like the taste. They are reluctant to listen to feedback about their work. If someone does not want to follow instructions or advice, be reluctant to is a useful phrase. Now that we've covered the different ways to use be reluctant to, let's go over some important tips to help you use it naturally and correctly in conversations. 1. Structure: be plus reluctant to plus base verb. The verb after be reluctant to should always be in its base form without ing or to before it. Correct: he is reluctant to start a conversation with strangers. Incorrect: he is reluctant to starting a conversation with strangers. More examples: she is reluctant to share personal details with others. They were reluctant to make a final decision. Always remember to use the base verb after be reluctant to. 2. Be reluctant to versus be hesitant to. Many learners wonder about the difference between be reluctant to and be hesitant to. Be reluctant to means someone is unwilling and likely to say no. Example: she is reluctant to attend the party because she dislikes social events. She does not want to go. Be hesitant to means someone feels unsure but is still considering the action. Example: he is hesitant to speak in class because he is a little shy. He might speak, but he is nervous. If someone strongly resists doing something, use be reluctant to. If they are unsure but might still do it, use be hesitant to. 3. Common mistakes and how to fix them. Here are some common mistakes English learners make with be reluctant to, and how to correct them. Incorrect: they are reluctant to work overtime. Correct: they are reluctant to work overtime. Incorrect: he was reluctant to admit his mistake. Correct: he was reluctant to admit his mistake. Always remember, be reluctant to requires the verb be. Am, is, are, was, were. Use to plus base verb, not just the verb alone. 4. How to remember be reluctant to. Think of reluctant as a way to express not wanting to do something. Use be reluctant to when talking about resistance, hesitation, or unwillingness. It is commonly used in work, personal, and financial situations. For example, instead of saying, "I don't want to spend too much money," you can say, "I am reluctant to spend too much money." This makes your response sound more polite and indirect. 5. Commonly used expressions with be reluctant to. Here are some popular expressions using be reluctant to that you can practice. Be reluctant to ask, she is reluctant to ask for help at work. Be reluctant to admit, he was reluctant to admit his mistake. Be reluctant to spend, they are reluctant to spend too much on shopping. Be reluctant to change, he is reluctant to change his routine. Be reluctant to try, she is reluctant to try spicy food. Try making your own sentences with be reluctant to reinforce your understanding.
In this section, we'll explore 5 common ways to use be hesitant to with clear explanations and examples. Let's dive in. 1. Feeling nervous about doing something? Use be hesitant to when someone feels anxious or afraid to do something. Example: she is hesitant to ask questions in class. This means she feels nervous or unsure about speaking up. More examples: he is hesitant to speak in front of a large audience. I am hesitant to try a new workout because I don't know if I can do it. If someone feels nervous about taking action, be hesitant to is a great way to describe their feelings. 2. Delaying a decision? Use be hesitant to when someone takes time before making a choice because they are unsure. Example: he was hesitant to accept the job offer because of the long commute. This means he wasn't sure if he should take the job because traveling to work would take too much time. More examples: she is hesitant to buy the dress because it's expensive. They were hesitant to book the flight because of unpredictable weather. If someone takes extra time to make a decision, they are hesitant to decide. 3. Lacking confidence in abilities. Use be hesitant to when someone feels unsure about their skills or knowledge. Example: I am hesitant to join the dance competition because I am not good at dancing. This means I don't feel confident enough to participate. More examples: he is hesitant to play the piano in public because he is still learning. She was hesitant to apply for the promotion because she didn't think she was ready. If someone is unsure of their ability to succeed, be hesitant to is a natural way to describe that feeling. 4. Worrying about consequences. Use be hesitant to when someone is afraid of what might happen if they take action. Example: she is hesitant to invest money because she worries about losing it. This means she is unsure about investing because she is afraid of financial risks. More examples: he is hesitant to start his own business because of the risk of failure. They are hesitant to change jobs because they don't know if the new company is better. If someone avoids a decision because of possible negative outcomes, be hesitant to is a great way to express that hesitation. 5. Avoiding something unfamiliar. Use be hesitant to when someone is unsure about trying something new. Example: they are hesitant to try spicy food because they have never eaten it before. This means they are unsure if they will like it because they have no experience with it. More examples: he is hesitant to move to another country because he has never lived abroad. She was hesitant to use the new software because she didn't know how it worked. If someone is reluctant to experience something unfamiliar, be hesitant to is the perfect phrase to use. Now that we've covered the different ways to use be hesitant to, let's go over some important tips to help you use it naturally and correctly in conversations. 1. Structure: be plus hesitant to plus base verb. The verb after be hesitant to should always be in its base form, without ing or to before it. Correct: she is hesitant to try new food. Incorrect: she is hesitant to trying new food. More examples: he was hesitant to join the conversation. They are hesitant to make a big decision. Always remember to use the base verb after be hesitant to. 2. Be hesitant to versus be reluctant to. Many learners wonder about the difference between be hesitant to and be reluctant to. Be hesitant to means someone feels unsure but is still considering the action. Example: I am hesitant to speak in English because I'm still learning. I want to, but I feel nervous. Be reluctant to means someone is unwilling and likely to say no. Example: She is reluctant to speak in meetings because she doesn't like public speaking. She does not want to do it. If someone might do something but is unsure, use be hesitant to. If they don't want to do it at all, use be reluctant to. 3. Common mistakes and how to fix them. Here are some common mistakes English learners make with be hesitant to and how to correct them. Incorrect, they hesitant to talk to strangers. Correct, they are hesitant to talk to strangers. Incorrect, he was hesitant to accept the invitation. Correct, he was hesitant to accept the invitation. Always remember, be hesitant to requires the verb be, am, is, are, was, were. Use to plus base verb, not just the verb alone. 4. How to remember be hesitant to. Think of hesitant as a pause before making a decision. Use be hesitant to when talking about things you aren't sure about but might still consider. This phrase is polite and sounds softer than saying I don't want to. For example, instead of saying I don't want to speak in front of people, you can say I am hesitant to speak in front of people. This makes your response sound more polite and thoughtful. 5. Commonly used expressions with be hesitant to. Here are some popular expressions using be hesitant to that you can practice. Be hesitant to ask. She is hesitant to ask for help in class. Be hesitant to make a decision. He was hesitant to choose a university. Be hesitant to try. They are hesitant to try sushi for the first time. Be hesitant to speak. She is hesitant to speak in meetings. Be hesitant to accept. He was hesitant to accept the invitation.
In this section, we'll explore 5 common ways to use struggle to with clear explanations and examples. Let's get started! 1. Finding something difficult to do. Use struggle to when someone has a hard time completing a task because it is challenging. Example: she struggles to focus when there is too much noise. This means she finds it difficult to concentrate in a noisy environment. More examples: he struggles to wake up early in the morning. They struggle to finish work on time. If someone has difficulty doing something, struggle to is a great way to describe it. 2. Having emotional or mental challenges. Use struggle to when someone faces emotional or psychological difficulties. Example: he struggles to stay motivated when things go wrong. This means he finds it hard to keep a positive attitude in difficult situations. More examples: she struggles to deal with stress at work. They struggle to control their emotions in tough situations. If someone finds it emotionally or mentally challenging to handle a situation, use struggle to. 3. Experiencing physical difficulty. Use struggle to when someone finds a physical action difficult. Example: they struggle to lift heavy weights at the gym. This means they find lifting weights difficult because it requires a lot of strength. More examples: she struggles to run long distances. He struggles to carry all the groceries by himself. If someone has trouble with a physical activity, struggle to is the perfect phrase. 4. Dealing with learning or understanding something. Use struggle to when someone has trouble learning new skills or understanding information. Example: I struggle to understand math equations. This means I find math difficult to learn. More examples: he struggles to remember new vocabulary words. She struggles to follow complex instructions. If someone finds learning or understanding something difficult, struggle to is a natural way to describe it. 5. Facing financial or life challenges. Use struggle to when someone experiences hardship in daily life, especially financially. Example: many people struggle to pay their bills during tough times. This means it is difficult for them to afford basic expenses. More examples: she struggles to find a good job in a competitive industry. They struggle to afford rent in a big city. If someone faces financial difficulties or life challenges, struggle to is a useful phrase to describe their situation. Now that we've covered the different ways to use struggle to, let's go over some important tips to help you use it naturally and correctly in conversations. 1. Structure: struggle to plus base verb. The verb after struggle to should always be in its base form, without ing or to before it. Correct: she struggles to finish her assignments on time. Incorrect: she struggles to finishing her assignments on time. More examples: they struggle to stay organized with their workload. He struggles to complete difficult tasks under pressure. Always remember to use the base verb after struggle to. 2. Struggle to versus find it hard to. Many learners wonder about the difference between struggle to and find it hard to. Struggle to means someone puts in a lot of effort but still finds it difficult. Example, he struggles to run long distances because of his injury. He finds it extremely hard. Find it hard to means something is difficult but not as intense as struggle to. Example, she finds it hard to wake up early but she still does it. It's not easy but she manages. If something is very difficult and takes a lot of effort, use struggle to. If something is a challenge but still possible, use find it hard to. 3. Common mistakes and how to fix them. Here are some common mistakes English learners make with struggle to and how to correct them. Incorrect. They struggle understanding the instructions. Correct. They struggle to understand the instructions. Incorrect. He struggles finishing his work on time. Correct. He struggles to finish his work on time. Always remember, struggle to requires the word to before the verb. Use the base form of the verb, not the ing form. 4. How to remember struggle to. Think of struggle as a way to express difficulty or hardship. Use struggle to when talking about challenges in learning, emotions, finances, or physical effort. It is commonly used in personal, academic, and professional situations. For example, instead of saying I have difficulty understanding English, you can say I struggle to understand English. This makes your response more natural and expressive. 5. Commonly used expressions with struggle to. Here are some popular expressions using struggle to that you can practice. Struggle to focus. She struggles to focus when she's tired. Struggle to sleep. He struggles to sleep after drinking coffee. Struggle to finish. They struggle to finish their work on time. Struggle to understand. I struggle to understand fast speech. Struggle to make money. Many small businesses struggle to make a profit. Try making your own sentences with struggle to reinforce your understanding.
In this section, we'll explore common ways to use manage to with clear explanations and examples. Let's get started. 1. Expressing success after difficulty. Use manage to when someone succeeds even though it was difficult. Example, she managed to climb the mountain. This means climbing the mountain was hard, but she succeeded in the end. More examples. They managed to find the lost keys. He managed to pass the exam after studying all night. 2. Talking about completing tasks under pressure. Use this when you complete something despite limited time or resources. Example, I managed to submit the report before the deadline. It was tough, but I finished it in time. More examples. She managed to finish the project by Friday. We managed to catch the last bus. 3. Describing unexpected achievements. Use it when success was surprising or not expected. Example, he managed to fix the car by himself. No one expected it, but he did it. More examples. They managed to win the game, even with fewer players. I managed to cook dinner without burning anything. 4. Highlighting effort in daily activities. Sometimes, even simple tasks take effort. Use manage to for those situations. Example, they managed to wake up early today. It was hard, but they did it. More examples. I managed to clean the entire house. She managed to call her friend after work. 5. Showing emotional or mental effort. Use this when someone pushes through emotional or mental challenges. Example, she managed to stay calm during the interview. It was stressful, but she kept calm. More examples. He managed to stay positive throughout the tough time. I managed to control my anger during the meeting. Now that we've covered the different ways to use manage to, let's go over some important tips to help you use it naturally and correctly in conversations. 1. Structure. Manage to base verb. Always remember, after manage to, the verb must be in its base form. For example, correct. They managed to solve the problem. Incorrect. They managed to solving the problem. It might seem like a small difference, but it makes your English sound much more natural and accurate. 2. Manage to versus can. Many learners get confused between manage to and can. So, here's the key difference. Manage to shows that success came after effort or difficulty. Example, she managed to finish the marathon. This means it was tough, but she did it. On the other hand, Can talks about general ability without focusing on effort. Example, she can run a marathon. This means she has the ability, but it doesn't tell us if it was hard or easy. 3. Common mistakes and how to fix them. Let's fix a common mistake I often hear. Incorrect, he managed to finish the project. Correct, he managed to finish the project. Don't forget that little word to, it's important. 4. How to remember manage to. An easy way to remember this is to think of manage as meaning succeed after trying hard. Use manage to when you want to show that the action took effort, was difficult, or the success was unexpected. It works really well in storytelling, daily conversations, and even informal writing. So, it's super versatile. 5. Commonly used expressions with manage to. Let's wrap up with some useful expressions you'll hear often. Manage to finish. I managed to finish my homework on time. Manage to escape. They managed to escape the locked room. Manage to survive. He managed to survive the tough hike. Manage to get there. We managed to get there before sunset. Manage to stay calm. She managed to stay calm during the exam.
In this section, we'll explore common ways to use fail to with clear explanations and examples. Let's get started. 1. Describing an unsuccessful action or attempt. We use fail to when someone tries to do something but doesn't succeed. Example, she failed to pass the driving test. This means she tried but couldn't pass the test. More examples. He failed to finish the race. They failed to solve the problem. 2. Talking about forgetting or neglecting to do something. This is when someone forgets or doesn't do what they were supposed to. Example, he failed to reply to the email. In this case, he didn't send the reply even though he should have. More examples. She failed to lock the door. I failed to call my friend back. 3. Expressing disappointment or regret. Sometimes we use fail to show we feel bad about not doing something. Example, I failed to keep my promise. This means I couldn't do what I promised, and I regret it. More examples. He failed to support his team. We failed to meet the deadline. 4. Reporting a system or machine failure. Fail to is also common when talking about machines or technology that don't work properly. Example, the engine failed to start this morning. This means the engine didn't work as expected. More examples. The computer failed to save the file. The heater failed to turn on. 5. Stating formal or official failures. You'll often see fail to used in news, reports, or official statements when talking about missed targets or expectations. Example, the company failed to meet its sales target. This means the company didn't reach the expected sales numbers. More examples, the project failed to deliver results. The government failed to respond on time. Now that we've covered the different ways to use fail to, let's go over some important tips to help you use it naturally and correctly in conversations. 1. Structure. Fail to base verb. Always remember, after fail to, the verb stays in its base form. Example, correct, they failed to complete the project. Incorrect, they failed to completing the project. So no ing forms here. Keep it simple. Fail to plus the base verb. 2. Fail to versus did not. This is a great one to remember when choosing your words, especially in writing or formal situations. Fail to is more formal and often used in reports, news articles, or serious discussions. Example, the team failed to meet the deadline. On the other hand, did not is softer and more common in everyday conversations. Example, the team did not meet the deadline. Both work, but the tone changes depending on which one you choose. 3. Common mistakes and how to fix them. Here's a mistake many learners make. Incorrect, he failed calling his friend. Correct, he failed to call his friend. So always double check your sentence. After fail, Make sure you have to base verb. 4. How to remember fail to. Think of fail as meaning did not succeed or couldn't manage to do something. Whenever you're writing formally, reports, essays, business emails, or talking about serious situations, fail to is a great choice. 5. Common expressions with fail to. Here are a few phrases you'll often hear or read. Fail to meet expectations. The movie failed to meet my expectations. Fail to complete a task. They failed to complete the task on time. Fail to understand. I failed to understand the question. Fail to deliver. The company failed to deliver the package. Fail to notice. She failed to notice the sign.
Well done today. You've just learned how to use some really useful phrasal modals like be allowed to, be motivated to, be hesitant to, struggle to, and fail to. These phrases are great for expressing how you feel, what you're trying to do, and how things are going, and they can make your English sound much more natural. Take your time with them, and don't worry if you're still getting used to the structure. Keep practicing by making your own sentences or using them in conversations. The more you use them, the easier they'll become. And if you need more support, remember to check the description below for extra tips, practice exercises, and links to other helpful videos. Okay, thanks for watching today's lesson on English Fab. I hope you found these English tips useful and feel more confident. Remember, practice makes perfect, so try using these phrases in your daily conversations. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more Fab English lessons. Until next time, keep practicing and stay fab.